Hi, folks. I want to welcome you to the Heartland podcast. This is David Steinman. I'm the author of Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins, Diet for a Poisoned Planet. I'm chief officer of the Healthy Living Foundation, which prosecutes corporations for selling products with undisclosed chemical toxins. I want to talk to you today about a matter of extreme importance when it comes to our daughters and our society. These are the allegations from Jane Doe in 2016. They are part of the Epstein files. And the reason I'm going to read some of them to you right now is because I heard two podcasts. One is Rest is Politics with an Anthony Scaramucci and Katty K. Anthony and Katty comment on all things, particularly the Epstein files lately. And Scaramucci said recently that he didn't find anything credible enough to implicate the president as far as being a sexual predator of underage girls, children. But I want to read this to you because Scaramucci says that, and these are part of the Epstein files. Okay, so this is the original complaint brought by a Jane Doe. I'll just read you some parts of it. Defendant Trump, let me start a little bit earlier in her story. I was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by the defendants, including forcible rape that took place at several parties of defendant Epstein during the summer of 1994 in New York City at a residence used by defendant Epstein. During this period, I was 13 years old. Yeah, this could be my daughter, your daughter. Doesn't matter if it's my years, they're ours. They're our children. More particularly, I traveled by bus to New York City in June 1994 in the hope of starting a modeling career. I went to several modeling agencies, but was told that I needed to put together a modeling portfolio before I'd be considered. I went to the Port Authority in New York City to start to make my way home. There I met a woman who introduced herself to me as Tiffany. She was a slightly older woman. This is the Tiffany Doe, whose affidavit in support of this case is also part of the Epstein files. Tiffany told me about the parties and said if I would join her at them, I would be introduced to people who could get me into the modeling profession. She said I would also be paid for attending. This is a 13-year-old girl. Now, defendant Trump had sexual contact with me at 4 different parties in the summer of 1994. On the 4th and final sexual encounter with defendant Trump, tied me to a bed, exposed himself to me, and then proceeded to forcibly rape me. During the course of this savage sexual attack, this is a 13-year-old girl, I loudly pleaded with defendant Trump to stop, but he did not. He responded to my pleas by striking me in the face with his open hand, screaming he would do whatever he wanted. Doesn't that sound like our president? Immediately following this rape, Trump threatened me that were I to ever reveal any of the details of his sexual and physical abuse of me, my family and I would be physically harmed, if not killed. And there is a governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I actually used to lift weights at Gold's Gym when Arnold was lifting weights there. He's great in that sense. Been a real role model for me. He's not mentioned in the Epstein files, by the way, I've never heard his name mentioned. So Arnold, great. But he's had his own peccadillos. During the time when he was running for governor, he denied that he had a child out of wedlock, but later he acknowledged it. And he said, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of smoke here, folks, and there's a fire, and it's being lit beneath the president's ass. I think he's guilty as hell of raping and beating young girls well under the age of 18, Megyn Kelly. Doesn't matter if they're 15 or 13, they're underage. They're children. Scaramucci downplays it. Of course, Michael Cohen downplays it. He also says in his podcast, I've never seen anything credible enough to implicate the president. This is the case that we believe he handled. The president told him it was BS. Cohen accepted that at the time. Now he switched over to the other side. If he had any credibility with you, it should be gone by now. I notice his subscriber count is dwindling. Anyone associated with the Epstein files should be out of public service, whether they are implicated criminally or just as part of the larger conspiracy. Obviously, people knew after 2008 Epstein was guilty as hell of being a pervert. So Scaramucci worked for Trump in 2016 or during that period. He lasted, what did they say, 10 Scaramucci's, and then he was fired? Trust me, he'd still be working for Trump now if he hadn't been fired. He has no moral core, okay? If you listen to the podcast, just know that. He worked for Trump. Everyone knew what Trump was about before he was ever elected the first time. Lutnick needs to go, and whoever is associated with Trump and in public service, whether they are criminally involved or just part of knowing and being part of that conspiracy and associating with these icky people, they all got to go from your life. You got to detox them. You got to get them the fuck out of your lives. You got to detox them. We're all going to have to detox from this. This is David Steinman. You can get my new book, Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins and other kinds of toxins, of course, at Amazon.com, or use the link in this post. My podcast is at YouTube, David Steinman _author. You can subscribe there or find it at Substack too. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for taking the time to listen to the end, and I hope you subscribe.